Hello, YouTube friends, and welcome back. It's me, Logan Albright, back with another book review for you. And today I want to talk about The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This is a book that's been making the rounds. A lot of people I know have been reading it. It was recommended to me by parties who shall remain unnamed. And it's got a lot of critical acclaim. People seem to really respond to it. It's got a lot of really positive reviews. So I read it and I wanted to talk about it with you guys and give a slightly different take to it. I didn't respond to it as well as most people apparently did. I have some issues with it. So I thought we could discuss it together as a group and see what we think about it. I'll tell you what I think, and then I want to hear what you think in the comments, okay? So the basic plot of The Midnight Library is there's a woman named Nora who's full of regret, kind of miserable, feels like she's made all the wrong decisions in her life, squandered all the opportunities that she's had, and has a really bad day, and ends up attempting to kill herself. And while she's kind of in the limbo between life and death, she's given the opportunity to try out a bunch of different lives if she had made different decisions, see what her life would be like if she'd done things differently. And she goes through all these different lives. And in the end, it's sort of a moral lesson about, how your attitude plays a role in how your life is. And it's more about, how you approach your daily life rather than, making big choices or big decisions or having big opportunities handed to you. It's all more about your attitude, how well your life is going to be. That's sort of the lesson. I think it's a good lesson. I think it's a lesson a lot of people need to hear. So in that respect, I'm happy with it. But as a piece of literature, I think it leaves a lot to be desired. The first thing I have a problem with is I think the story is lacking in originality pretty severely. It's very similar to It's a Wonderful Life. It's also very similar to the movie Bedazzled, which has been made twice, once with Peter Cook and once with Brendan Fraser. Very similar to that. It's also got shades of Groundhog Day in there. And you know that the author is aware of this because there's actually a lot of little subtle references to It's a Wonderful Life within the text of the book. If you are looking for them, you'll pick them out. There's lots of names that call back to It's a Wonderful Life. So he knows that he's not writing the most original story. So that kind of bothered me. I like books that are a little bit more original. But bigger than that, I think my problem is with the main character. I found her intensely unlikable. Nora is a very negative person. She seems to be ungrateful for everything that she has in her life. And I guess that's part of the character development, is her getting better at that. But I had a hard time overcoming her negativity and her whininess. It made me really not like her. In It's a Wonderful Life, they established that George Bailey is such a likable guy. He's like someone you really identify with and you want to do well. And he has a terrible things happen to him and you feel sorry for him. But then he shows that life is worth living. In this book, you don't get that kind of introduction. You're just kind of thrown into this character who is very negative and unpleasant. And I had a hard time really rooting for her in the book. Another problem I had with it is that I feel like they undermine their own message in a couple of ways. And the main way is the character that we're supposed to empathize with, the character that we're supposed to draw lessons from, is astonishingly gifted and successful in everything she attempts, which kind of drove me crazy. It's like 1 in a million talent in 5 different fields. So the choices she makes, are I could have been an Olympic athlete, or I could have been a world famous rock and roll singer, or I could have been elite professor at an elite college. And most people don't have these options. They act like anybody could do all these things if they just tried, and I don't think that's the case. I think that most people don't have that kind of 1 in a million gift where they could, it just takes them trying and they could be the most successful famous person in the world. I think it would have been a much more powerful story if the girl was sort of average, if she was just a normal woman who had normal gifts and normal abilities. And yeah, she could be successful or she could be unsuccessful, but she's not going to be a world famous celebrity no matter what path she walks down. And I think that was very unrealistic. And I found that, it put distance between me and the character. It made it hard for me to understand or sympathize with the character because I'm most people just don't have these kind of gifts, and you're really lucky you do. And then it made her seem all the more ungrateful when she had all these incredible gifts and still wasn't happy and couldn't deal with any of them. The other thing that bothered me about it is it reads a lot like kind of a self-help book, and I guess that's sort of the point of it, you're supposed to take this lesson from it. But halfway through, I kind of felt like I was no longer reading a novel. I'm reading a self-help book on how to live your life better. And I don't like self-help books. I don't enjoy them. I don't think they're very useful most of the time. I like to read novels, and I felt like the story was being subsumed under the message that they were trying to push on me. And I don't, the message is fine as far as it goes, but it's it's propagandistic style of writing. It's the story is subservient to the the message that you're trying to push onto your readers. And to me, that's a little bit manipulative as an author, and I don't like that. I like the story to come first, and then the readers can extract the message that they want to extract from the story. I think that's more organic. I think that's more natural, and I like that a lot better. It's also, like I said, it's unoriginal and it's predictable. You know exactly how it's going to end. I should probably say spoilers, but if you read the first page of this book, you know how it's going to end. If you've had any kind of experience with books or movies in the past, you can predict the entire plot from the first page. And I think that's kind of dull. I like a few more surprises in my books than that. And then another problem with it I have, again, this is sort of a spoiler, but not really. At the end, like a lot of the things that she was upset about in the first chapter end up to be imaginary. Like the things that she thinks are going wrong in her life turned out not to be going wrong at all. They were just a misunderstanding. And to me, again, this undermines the main point of the book. If your point is about, like, it doesn't matter what happens to you, it matters your attitude and how you approach the things that happen to you, then, like, have there be real problems. Have there be real issues that you have to overcome and show how your attitude can make those things better instead of just like, oh, whoopsie, all the problems you had just vanished because of luck. I think that undermines the message as well, too. So these are some of the issues I had with the book. Unlikable character, unoriginal story, predictable ending, and then the message being undermined by all these little things, and then the message being overly simplistic and forced upon you and not allowing you to really draw your own conclusions from the book. So I found it a very lightweight read and not a lot of depth to extract things from it. And so I guess I'm being kind of harsh on it, which I feel bad about because a lot of people I know really loved this book and thought it was great and inspiring. I just didn't find it inspiring, and I found it a little bit, I don't know, just a little shallow, Didn't really do it for me. So that's what I thought about the Midnight Library. I guess I don't have much more to say about it than that, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please reach out in the comments. Let me know what you thought about it, because everybody's apparently reading this book. And notice it's got a Good Morning America book club thing on it, and I think that's really appropriate because it really feels like the kind of book, Good Morning America, like a daytime television type of book. It has that kind of feel to it. And so, but everyone else loves it, so maybe I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Post in the comments. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep making more book reviews for you as fast as I possibly can. I got another one coming up real soon that I'm very excited about. It's kind of an oddball book, but I really liked it, and I can't wait to talk about it. Also, remember, I've got my own book out right back here, Conform or Be Cast Out, the literal demonization of nonconformists, I should say, out in December. Make sure to pre-order it now. It'll help me a lot if you do. Thanks so much for watching. I've been Logan Albright, and I'll catch you next time.